Thank you for watching One World 256. Today we want to get to know how someone can get into an American graduate school. Thank you, Professor, for talking to us, and I will let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about how to get into an American graduate school, particularly for those who are coming from a developing country who might not be aware of what the process is. My name is William Kisarita. I've been a professor in an American university for a number of years, and I've had a number of administrative roles. One of those roles was as a graduate coordinator or an associate dean for a graduate program, which means that I'm responsible for admitting students. So the process can be really characterized by 4 or 3 elements. The first element I want to speak to you about is the idea of timing.
Okay.
In the U.S., the academic year starts around August. And that means if you want to be admitted, you have to go backwards in time, and so that by August you are in. So typically, if you're going to come here in 2024, August, you should have had your application in by November, December 2023.
Okay.
And before that, there are a number of things that you have to have in place.
Okay.
And I'm going to detail those. So that's the timing. The next thing is to think about what is it that you need to put together for your application to be competitive. First, you have to have had a good undergraduate degree from wherever you're coming from. And what's a good undergraduate degree? It's one that has maybe an upper second, if you think about the British system. One that's high enough. Typically here, graduate school, they consider a grade point average or GPA of 3 on a scale of 0 to 4. Okay. Below that, it's a little bit difficult. And I think in for example, where I come from originally in Uganda, this would be, an upper second or lower second. When they translate it, it's going to come to that GPA. Okay. So that's the first element. The second element is that you have to you have to take what is called a graduate record exam.
Graduate record exam. Is that the one that is called the GRE?
GRE.
Okay.
Now, I have experience in what's called STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So typically, this is where the GRE becomes relevant. If you're looking at business, they've got what they call GMAT. But my knowledge is going to be on the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. It's a space or area that I'm very familiar with. So you have to score well on the GRE. And this is very important. That GRE score should tell you the type of school that can admit you. If you have a very low GRE, maybe a very high-end school might not admit you. So the best question usually to ask is, whatever graduate school you're looking at, you ask them, or you write to the graduate coordinator. People used to write to me, what's the range of the GRE of the people you admit? This gives you an idea that you actually can fit within that range. So that's the second thing.
Okay, Professor. Before we go any further, I would like to know, let's say you talked about the GRE. A person who has been in Uganda University, how can they access the GRE?
Okay. Usually, there are programs in each country where this is done. I think in Uganda, if you check with the U.S. Embassy,
Okay.
In their education attaché, they'll tell you where the centers are.
Oh.
I don't know where they are, but I'm familiar with students that I've admitted from there, that the centers are there. They go and do it. These days, you can do it online or you can do it in a sitting. They tell me the online one could be a bit of a challenge, but this is for you to find out. Check with the embassy, education attaché, and they'll tell you where you can do the GRA.
How about the GRA books, the ones I've had before?
It's important to use one, because you need to buy the GRA book, and they'll tell you where to find it, or you can write to somebody in America and they send you one, and you study it. It's important to study this book so that you're going to be competitive. A lot of other people from other countries really spend time studying the GRA to prepare so they score well. So if you're going to look at it, the time I've heard is that maybe it takes about 3 months. Less than that, if you look at it for 1 month and you try to do it, you're probably not going to be ready. So you need to study for it, because this is an important component for you to be competitive. Okay. Should I go ahead to number 3?
Yes.
Okay. Number 3 is the letters of reference. Most of the time, you need to get people who can write good letters of reference for you. And what's a good letter? A good letter is not this one paragraph letter. I've seen bad letters that say, this is a great student, he should be admitted. Well, that's not a good letter. A letter should tell me, if this is a great student, what makes the student great? In other words, letters that I've read that are very good, when I read it, within my mind, I'm already seeing that young woman or that young man. I've seen somebody like them before, and they've been successful where I am. So in other words, a letter should be able to capture, the credentials of the student. Okay, the fourth thing that is critical is called a statement of purpose. This is an essay you write, and that essay addresses why you want to come to the university. And if you come, what is it that you want to do? Because the way it happens is like this. So let's say as a graduate coordinator or associate dean, I get all these letters that come in, I put them together. After I put them together, I circulate them among my faculty or the faculty, so they choose who they wanna come and work with them.
What do they base on exactly?
So the
Is it random choosing?
No, it's not. The things that I'm talking to you about.
Oh.
So when these come in, the graduate coordinator will have a committee that will help them select who to admit. And these 4 things that I'm talking to you about are the criteria by which they're going to choose.
Okay. Are they the ones which are called the graduate school admission requirements?
Yes, you could call them admission requirements.
Admission requirements.
So once you put together a file for you, the committee decides who to admit, and then they say to the broader faculty or professors or lecturers or teachers that these have been admitted. Is there any one of those you'd like to fund? Which brings me to an important question. These questions people don't know about. Where do you get the money to go? The way it works is like this.
So let's say the person has got the graduate school admission requirements.
Yes.
And after, that means they need the money.
Yes.
So you're directing us to how they can be financed.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is a difficult thing. A lot of people don't know. I get a lot of requests where people say, can you find me a scholarship?
Oh, okay.
There are various modes of funding, but the two I'm going to tell you about are the most prevalent or the most common. The most common is what is called a graduate research assistantship. And what does that mean? That a professor like me, I've got a grant in my lab, and I need the graduate student to come work with me.
Okay.
And I'm going to pay them a stipend that already been determined by the university as sufficient.
Okay.
And so when these names that have been admitted are floating around, professors are going in to choose that I like student A, I like student B. Once they tell the graduate coordinator they want a student A and student B, the graduate coordinator writes the student that has been admitted.
Oh, okay.
And you have funding.
Wow.
And the funding is going to be this much.
Wow.
Now, the challenge usually is that usually there is no money. They're going to give you a ticket. They're going to give you money for applying for a visa. Now, this is at your end. Once they've said that you've been admitted, now you go to your embassy and apply for a visa to come to an American graduate school. And the visa, there will be funding to apply for the visa. And once you get the visa, you're going to find an air ticket to come. Usually
the student has to pay the ticket themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How about if they reach in America? So, who gives them the housing?
Okay.
I mean, just like the first day they come and the first day they arrive. Yeah.
Usually, you need to come in with some money.
Oh, okay. I think that's very important. Yeah.
Because remember, when you get there on day one, you're not going to be paid until the end of the month.
That's what I'm thinking.
So you need to have a little bit of money, and you can inquire how much you need to put a down payment on the apartment.
Okay.
And to buy your food until you're paid. We've had cases where students sold everything they had from some country, and they came, when they got here, they had only $15 in their pocket. And they tell their major professor, I'm here. You said I have an assistantship. I have only $15. But the student has not been processed to be paid. There are all these challenges. And then the professor has to find a way they can do this. I don't advise it. Come in with some money so that you can get an apartment.
A burden.
And you will then, at the end of the month, you'll begin to live. So that's how it happens.
Okay. So you said, what is the next step to getting financial assistance?
Okay. There is another type of financial possibility. This is usually called a graduate teaching assistant. The one I said, graduate research assistant. The other is a graduate teaching assistant. But these are usually very difficult. Especially if you're coming from a sub-Saharan African country or some other country, because they want to make sure you're going to help within teaching.
Oh, okay.
So
you study and then you help teaching?
You help with teaching. It's part-time. You study and you help with the teaching.
Okay.
The teaching could be you helping a professor prepare classes. You're helping a professor grade.
Okay.
Normally, they tend to want to give that to somebody they know. For example, if we had an undergraduate who's coming from here, we know they've taken the class and they're going to graduate school. We know them, they're going to handle students well. This is where they usually can give it to you. Or you can get it after you've been here for a while, where, you become a known commodity. So that's why I say the first one I told you about is perhaps the most common way students get here. And you have to have, the four things I've mentioned have to be good enough so that you are admitted. And after that, then you start.
Okay. Giving an example from university student from Uganda, let's say, do they have to be with good grades?
Yes.
All of them have to be in whatever department you are. You have to make sure that you have good grades.
Yes. Well,
I cannot make good grades with while reading GRE or something like that.
It's not enough. Well, the thing is like this. this idea of whether you're going to be admitted is not one thing. It's a combination of all these things.
Okay.
You know, you may have slightly low grades, but you write such a great statement of purpose.
Oh.
I can tell you one time, I've had a case myself where students coming in, their grades are not very good, are not, you know, in the middle. They are the bottom of
moderate.
the range.
They're just moderate.
Bottom of the range we consider.
Mm.
But they have this fantastic statement of purpose.
Mm.
As a graduate coordinator, I feel like the students are going to be very successful here. So some of my committee members were reluctant to admit this student, but I say, you know, I've got good vibes. So I persuade some of them and we bring the student in, and we were not disappointed. We were pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to emphasize, it's not one thing. It's the collection of all these things.
Okay.
So having good grades, of course, is a shoe in.
Okay.
Having a great statement of purpose is a shoe in.
Okay.
Having good letters of reference is very important.
And
having a good graduate record exam score is important.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor, for talking to us. Is there anything else that you think you'd share with somebody who is watching us?
I think I can share one thing that, you know, sometimes students or prospective students make choices based on where they think the money is. And they get there because there was money, but they don't like the work. I think what I advise, try to make a choice based on where you want to be.
The passion.
The things you want to do. As opposed to, oh, I had Professor so-and-so has money. I don't really care what they are doing. You're going to be disappointed because you get there, you don't like the work. And remember, whenever you don't like the work, you can't do it well. So choose carefully. The other thing I haven't pointed out that I think that might be of value is this, that once you've been admitted, go to the website and look for particular professors that you think you could work with, that are in the space you are interested in.
Okay.
Write them a private letter that says, Professor so-and-so, I've seen your work. I'm so much interested in coming to work with you. I've been admitted. Will you have space for me in your lab? Okay. This is, you know, you're reaching out to a particular professor. The list might have come around, but they perhaps didn't notice you. You might persuade them to go back and look. Say, "Whoa, this young man or young woman has tried to get in touch with me. Let me look at their credentials." I think those are two additional things I want to provide.
So it's all about always trying your luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor, for talking to us. Thank you for watching 1 World 256.
Thank you.